Wow.
What's up?
I just bought and financed a car through Carvana in minutes.
You? The person who agonized 4 weeks over whether to paint your walls eggshell or off-white bought and financed a car in minutes?
They made it easy. Transparent terms, customizable down and monthly. Didn't even have to do any paperwork.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Hey, have you checked out that spreadsheet I sent you for our dinner options?
Finance your car with Carvana and experience total control. Financing subject to credit approval.
The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
This is All Things Elite. Welcome back to All Things Elite. Load up the pod, man, it's on when we speak. Rich right here, let me warm it up for Austin and Floyd. Couldn't be no one but the boys. When it come to All Things Elite from the fan perspective, swear, man, it ain't no question. Hear from them first. Swear, man, they putting in the work. No, they had to get me for the verse. Social Suplex Network's on. Hours at a time in your headphones. Austin and Floyd on the microphone. Backing out on the rant, getting in the zone. Pulling up the show, give it 7 stars, you already know. Who else could it be but the show with the proclivity for positivity? I'm gone.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 269th episode of Social Suplex's podcast about AEW with a proclivity for positivity. Welcome to All Things Elite. My name is Austin Sumwitz, and I am the host of this lovely show. And joining with me, as always, is my good buddy, my good friend, Mr. Floyd Johnson Jr., my man. How are you doing?
Dude, if my mood is directly reflective of how AEW's product is doing, I am doing extremely well.
Yeah.
But I am constantly reminded every day, including on this episode of Dynamite, that my Kansas City Chiefs did not finish the three-peat, so...
Yeah, I was going to say, I knew that one segment, I'm just going to be like, this dude's getting on your shit list, man.
It stabbed me a little bit, so that keeps my head from getting too big. I'm doing good. Shout out my boy JR and his wife are at Elimination Chamber in Toronto this weekend. So have fun. So he's going to fill a debut double. I doubt a lot of people doing. He's going to be at Elimination Chamber this week and then Revolution next week with me.
He's going to have a shitload going on, man.
The dude's a busy dude. But, I'm pumped up. AEW's been on fire lately. I sent you a message earlier tonight, and it was like, our new motto of the show is fuck the casuals. And you're like, why? And I know if everybody's listening, they're like, why would you say that? I was like, dude, it is simple to me. And this is why I'm on like a high right now. It's simple to me. You're like, your proclivity and positivity, why would you say fuck the casuals? Fuck the casuals is not at the casual fans. It's at the myth of the casual fan, right?
Right.
There's the myth of the casual fan. Because the myth of the casual fan led to things like the brochachos and heavily trying to do sports entertainment shit, right?
Right.
That's the myth of the casual fan. But what drives AEW, when AEW's at the hottest, when AEW is selling the most tickets, getting the most people to watch their program, selling the most merch, is when they are adhering or their product is going towards their most hardcore fans. This fan base is passionate as fuck. And when you see a passionate fan base, people want to join in. Even if they're not as passionate, they want to feel the passion that comes through it. Through hot crowds, through long-ass lines, through loud-ass shows. They want to feel it. So AEW was built, I've said it, I feel like 100 times, built on a passionate fan base. They were built on the elitals, as I called them at that time. So it's like, why at any point in your company would you try to get away from that passion? I'm not saying you just have to push people that are elite. No, but you got Takeshita, Ospreay, people that have that same Swerve, people that have that same vibe that you had with that initial, the initial group. Push those people. Put them in front of people. Let them see what your version of professional wrestling is, and stop even trying to be the other version of professional wrestling. People that want that version of all that professional wrestling already have it. And it's like the last 6 weeks have been pretty fucking amazing. Do they still do a little sports entertainment stuff every now and then? Yeah, in this show, yeah. But it's that 80-20 rule that I always talk about. Last night's AEW Dynamite felt like if you like, hey, show me what AEW is all about, I'm going to show them that episode. Mm-hmm. From beginning to end, action, stakes, things that matters, and it was all centered around wrestling. MJF, I'm a better wrestler than you. You know, Ricochet and Swerve, I'm a better wrestler than you. Copeland and Mox, I'm a better wrestler than you. Takeshi and OC, and eventually Takeshi and Omega or whatever, I'm a better wrestler than you. Wrestling, pro wrestling is the forefront of this company, and when it is that way, oh my God, is it good? Oh my God, do I get excited to talk about the show? I'm like, I wanted to record last night. I was so pumped up, you know.
Yeah,
and it's just
we would have recorded last night, but I was too busy. I was in Detroit watching my Pistons beat the shit out of the Boston Celtics. Fuck Boston forever. Your city trash. Jason Tatum can eat one.
Dude. Yeah, I'm always team fuck Boston. I never want to Patriots, Celtics. I do like the Red Sox because LeBron owns them, but that's the only reason. But other than that, you know, fuck Boston. But
y'all use most of my name, and y'all just reek of the worst sports fans of all time. That's all I'm saying. And not gonna focus on it, but my Pistons have won 8 in a row for the first time since Rip Hamilton, Chauncey Billups, Tayshaun Prince, and Rasheed Wallace were all on the team. That's how long it's been since my team's been good. So I'm relishing in that right now.
The LA
y'all know right now. That's why I'm especially in a good mood right now. Because Detroit, we back up.
And I happen to root for two teams in basketball when I'm paying attention. I am very much a basketball casual. I have no problem saying it, so fuck me. But the Lakers that I root for because of LeBron, the LA Lucas now, they're not the LA LeBrons anymore.
Bro, I'll talk to you more about this off the air, but you're going to need to talk. If you meet up with Jared for Revolution, my man, like if you even mention Luka, like he was a Luka fan. He wasn't a Mavericks fan. He was a Luka fan. The amount of times I heard that man dog on the Mavericks for like, y'all wasting Luka's talents and all this type of stuff. And then when he got traded, it was like,
to his city.
Yeah, I know, but he's never been a Lakers fan. Like when he was a Kobe fan, he wasn't a Lakers fan. He was a Kobe fan. So now he's a Luka fan with him being on the Lakers and stuff like that. But now, I mean, like he's like rooting on the downfall of the Mavericks for trading away Luka. Like every time they lose, he shares their loss with Meet the Grams by Kendrick Lamar on his Instagram and just laughs like maniacally.
I got to tell you, when it comes to the NBA, my whole life, through my experience, everybody else's might be different, I have noticed that more in the NBA than I've noticed that in any other sport that people root for players. JR, Shaq fan. He's like, he watched every game wherever Shaq went. He was all about Shaq. And when Shaq retired, he stopped really caring about basketball. Mm-hmm. And for me, it was Jordan first. When Jordan retired, I kind of checked out for the most part. Then LeBron came, and I follow LeBron. And then my city got a team, so I do root for them because it's my city. And
absolutely,
everybody might know I love my city. People might think Oklahoma City's trash. That is up to you. But I love
OKC's doing fire right now. Man.
But I'm just saying OKC as the city. You know, they're not the NBA team. But yeah, so. Some people might not like it. Whatever. I love my city. So
yeah, but like I said, not gonna focus on that too much. But like I said, we're both in especially good moods. Obviously, because like we said, getting some really good shows. I'm in a good mood. We're like the positivity around the show is gonna be dramatically improved from like months ago when we were just kind of like.
I said Dynamite last night. A tweet that I have not sent. The whole time Dynamite has been a thing, that last night was a 10 out of 10 Dynamite. I have not sent that. Like, Dynamite's been on, and I've never, since 2019, at no point have I ever sent that message. I actually searched. Never sent that message. I just thought last night was, and when I say perfect show, I mean as in excitement, great matches, stories moving forward. The build of Revolution makes sense. Everything's great. Am I going to have tiny nitpicks? Of course. But I still think the show was perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I can't wait to talk about this with you, man. We got a lot to get to, obviously, with this episode. Before we get to it, though, I want to make sure you guys continue to support this show. You can do so, obviously, if you share us around with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish, and then rate, review, subscribe, whether you listen to us on YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Turn automatic downloads on and continue to download this fine show. And then you can also follow us on Twitter at ATElitePod to show some support. You can also follow at Social Suplex. They make this show possible, and you can check out all the other shows they have on their network. I am at Austin Sumowicz, SZUMOWICZ, and Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. Now, the big news of the week is the announcement of terms of Max, where we've been streaming AEW, and how they've recently switched over to streaming some stuff on Dynamite, Collision, all that kind of stuff, and pay-per-views on Max. They have now changed to premium sports. So, Floyd, if you want to go into the details on that.
Yeah, I pulled up the article so I could read it. And it's basically, it says, Max to keep live sports and news within standard and premium subscription tiers at no additional cost to consumers. So Max announced that their premier sports and news content within the stream form coupled with best-in-class viewing experience will remain available at no additional cost to standard and premier tier subscribers in the U.S. Now, the reason I brought this up, because I honestly don't know what this means for AEW. Because we were kind of told that pay-per-views would be on Max from now on, and they would be a discounted price, right? Mm-hmm. They have not brought anything up. Mm-hmm. When they, I watched it back again to make sure I missed something, and I did miss something where it showed. It was like, buy this pay-per-view, and it was telling you to go to Triller.
Triller or YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, Triller or YouTube. No mention of WBD, or Max and whatever. And I'm just like, what if you signed up for Max, like you have YouTube TV or whatever, and you signed up for Max because, pay-per-views at a cheaper price, right? And then It's like, this is not being talked about anymore, and it's weird. So I didn't know how that affected. Is they like going away with it, or are they never going to do it? Because Revolution right now, hot card right now. It's yes. Like if you're going to get people on Max based on this pay-per-view, you need to start advertising it now. Because right now I generally, it's 10 days before the show. I usually have bought the pay-per-view on whatever service I'm going to buy it on by now. I haven't, because I don't know what service to buy it on. Is it going to be available on Max? I'm going to assume no at this point, because I have to assume. It's just I really like more transparency on the pay-per-view situation. If it's waiting, if it's whatever you're going to do, let us know. Because I could see people like, oh, so you're not doing this on Max, and kind of canceling their Max subscription. I'm not saying there was like 1 million people that signed up to Max for AEW, but, some people did. So I think this is one of those times be as transparent as possible. I know there's legal ramifications, contract ramifications of things they probably can't say. That's fine. Be as transparent as possible for your viewers' experience. But them announcing that, and it's just like, that just seems like, because to me, it's like, I imagine that the pay-per-views were going to be, premium subscription. You would have to pay an additional cost. So are you saying are we getting the pay-per-views for free? Or are you just not doing the pay-per-views through the network anymore? Or are they going to be shown on a month or two delay or whatever? All I said, we need to know how this affects AEW, if it affects AEW. This might not affect AEW at all, and they might still be trying to work out how they're going to do the pay-per-view. Doesn't matter. Just need to know. And it's like, I've never, ever got on one of the media calls for AEW. I'm actually thinking about it so I can ask this question.
For sure.
Like, what's going on with the pay-per-views? Like, even if he says there's not a lot you can talk about, I'm like, what can you say? You know what I mean? Can you say it's still being worked out or whatever? Like I said, it's just financially. Again, WWE's trying to catch up with, how many different platforms their product is on. But right now, AEW is still exponentially more expensive to follow than WWE.
Yeah.
You have to. WWE doesn't really have pay-per-view. They have the Peacock, even with it going up to $13.99. That's still it's like $150, $160 a year for all their PLEs. That's including NXT. That's including NXT and all the pay-per-views and everything. And then you have their library. That's still a better deal than $50 a month for and AEW just keeps adding pay-per-views. So it's like $50 a month. And with the money in this country tightening up, as far as the middle to lower class people having less money because we have to spend money on food, need a break. We need a break.
Well, again, too, I mean, like, it's just like you kind of that was one of the big like selling points of like, man, if we could at least get the pay-per-views at a discount, because that's the thing is like AEW does such great pay-per-views. It's just like $50 a show and stuff like that. That's steep, man, in terms of wrestling compared to like what we've been paying for like years. You know what I mean? Like comparatively, like for other products and stuff like that. So, we need more details in terms of, and then also too, I mean, let's be frank too, like y'all moved over to Max. It's been almost like we're entering into March now, starting this Saturday. We're going into March. I go on to Max right now, guys. When I go to previous pay-per-views, 2019 is the only year that they've got pay-per-views.
Yeah, they're working on it.
I know, but like, get that shit, like, step it up. Like, because if you want people to really get it and have, like, acts like, that's the whole idea with Max, is having the backlog. Like, we have a backlog of, like, all the Dynamites from this year that have aired, and then some, I think, from all the Dynamites from 2019, and then all the pay-per-views from 2019, but in between, nothing. So, like, I need them to start, really rolling out the archive.
They did make an announcement. Max streaming service, and this is another one, will be adding AEW pay-per-views from 2020, all 21, 22, 23, and 24 to the streaming service on March 1st. So we're literally 2 days away from that.
So it is March 1st that they're going to be adding that.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
I did not see the announcement, so I love to hear that.
Yeah, so I remember seeing it, so as soon as you brought that up, I was like, I know that information came out there. So yeah, it'll be on March 1st. That's according to PW Insider. I want to give them their credit.
All right.
So we'll see. I'll be first on there checking, and my dog, when my dog's in the living room, because usually my dog likes to have the TV on. Like, he won't sleep if the TV's off, right?
Okay.
So I'm just gonna have him watching AEW pay-per-views.
Sounds good. All right, well, that's our news of the week. We'll quickly move over and touch on, first of all, Collision. Love to see Hologram, first of all, back and doing stuff. It's been a minute since we've seen a Hologram, and he had a great match, I will say, with Beast Mortos that opened the show, so I would definitely recommend that.
Hologram and Beast Mortos, best of 7, let's go.
I would love that.
The only reason they can't do it is I don't think Hologram has lost yet, so I think they're probably saving that.
I would say it would literally be a 4-match streak, basically.
Yeah,
you go that way. Harley Cameron had a beautiful interview in the ring, which was amazing. And like I said, she's still showing how she's not going to stop until every single person knows what it feels like to feel the wrath. So trying to really showcase about, she's still new at this, but she went the distance with one of the best in Mercedes Moné, so she can absolutely still hang with them. And like I said, I just want to make sure that Harley, even though she lost, and I still agree with the decision to have her lose at Grand Slam, just want to see that trajectory as she went down, now that steady climb back up, steady climb back up, steady climb back up. And we'll touch on that on the Dynamite stuff as well. The trios match between Death Riders and Daniel Garcia in 2.0 was a lot of fun, I will say. That was really good. And then Jericho won a match against Bandito to keep the Ring of Honor title, so everyone was super happy about that, as you can imagine.
Yes. Yeah. Everybody was super happy because everybody wants to see Jericho as much as possible. It's funny. He's such a polarizing figure in the AEW right now.
Yeah,
even though like sentiment and enjoyment of the show is up, and they actually put on a really good match. Jericho was Jericho.
Oh
again.
Yeah.
But it was it's just like so many people just want to move on from him. And I'm just like,
They do.
It's not time yet. There will be a time that it's time. It's not time yet.
Yep. But that was some of the highlights I will say from Collision, unless you got some other stuff you want to say from that show.
Hold on just a second. I did have some I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, no problem.
Couldn't remember what it was because, loaded. Shit's been loaded lately.
It has been, man.
But the Harley thing was cool. I like her
yeah.
coming back out and kind of just like, hey, I'm not going anywhere. Because a lot of times, like when someone's hot like that and they lose or whatever, they do have a tendency for them to just kind of not be used and go away.
No, exactly. And that's what I said. It's just like, she gets knocked down. The steady climb back up is all I need, man. So just have her win some matches, have her do some fun stuff, have her be entertaining as she always is. Like I said, she's been consistently doing great stuff like for the last few months. So like, I'm not too worried. I think they're going to be fine. It's just, like I said, just need that steady climb back up. That's all I'm looking for.
All right. So Gabe Kidd, want to talk about my boy Gabe Kidd?
Yep, I was going to say him. Yep.
Like I said, I just became a fan of his. I am not going to be one of those people. I've been on this Gabe Kidd train. No, I have not been on. I've been on this Gabe Kidd train since January 5th when he had his match with Kenny Omega. And I was like, oh, this dude is good. And then he was good against the Butcher tonight. And then we got Clark Connors, who's also a Bullet Club War Dogs member, who say he's coming to AEW. I don't know if this is leading to like a War Dogs invasion or whatever they're doing, or we're just going to get more Gabe Kidd. But I'm happy he has. To me, it's funny. He's New Japan, but he definitely has that AEW attitude. He seems like he can fit right in with the Death Riders if he wanted to. Just that badass kind of aspect of him.
Oh, sure.
And then Clark Connors, he's really good too. The title defenses. Oh, the Murder Machines. Hey, they just beat some jobbers, and they're like, hey, we want a tag team title shot. And MVP's like, beat somebody. And I fucking love that. It's just like, dude, again, when AEW is his best, everything's about wrestling. Everything's about wrestling. And it wasn't like, oh, we don't got a problem with you, blah, blah, blah. No long thing. It's like, dude, beat somebody. You want a title shot? Beat somebody. You just don't get a title shot. And I need that to continue to be a thing in AEW, because sometimes people were getting title shots and we couldn't figure out why. And and now it's like, okay, yeah, I want the tag team champion, because the Hurt Syndicate, if you're paying attention, is not heel or face. Anybody can get it. They've been getting cheered or whatever, so they're kind of going to play the face in the Murder Machines thing. But if they're with another team, they'll probably play the heels. It's just that's what makes them kind of flexible, and the entrance and everything is over anyway. So yeah, I think that's all I had to add from the show, and I am still loving this whole Max Caster open challenge match. Gets squashed by Brody King. That's amazing. And then Queen Aminata and Julia Hart actually I thought put on a really good match.
Yeah,
so
they've been improving.
I don't think Collision's a skip. I think they're doing whatever they can, especially when we talk about the preview for this week. They're doing everything you can to make sure it's not a skip. And to add just a little bit, from what we were talking about before, because I just pulled it up. So this is a segue, not what we're talking about now. AEW 2025 pay-per-view pack for Revolution and Dynasty.
Yep, that is available right now.
$84.99 for the two. So you save $15 by ordering the two together. Again, hey, that's better than 100. So I would tell you, if you're going to do it, take advantage of it. I am going to take advantage of it. And so, yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there before I forget.
Yep, so we can move over now to Dynamite, which opened up with Copeland showing up in the back of an ambulance, basically just wanting to show the Death Riders what their ride home was going to be in.
Dude, there have been a lot of cold openings in the AEW, so I cannot say this was the best. But this is fucking cool.
It was cool.
That's like all I have for it. It was cool. It was just like this really cool, him sitting in the ambulance. I want to show you your ride home. Like, fuck. I'm like, yeah, he's about to mess some people up.
That's the other thing, too, is that, excuse me, my God, I got to get myself together. In the Death Riders match against 2.0 and Daniel Garcia, Cope already started his trajectory. He jumped Pac and concertoed him. So one member down. So from what he said last week, where he's going to take you guys out one by one, Pac already handled with. So now he wants to continue that process. There was also another. We had two segments actually, real quick before we got into our first match. We then showed MJF lying down, talking about how he's watched hypocrites cheering at Adam Page, like for all these things. I'm right here. Like I've been doing what he does, but better all the time. Now I'm truly betting on myself because you people chose him as the main guy. And he goes, you know what? I used to believe in 3 letters. I used to believe in AEW. Now I only believe in MJF. So he films himself getting his bet on yourself AEW chip tattoo on his leg removed. So he's literally getting it lasered off his skin.
I'm calling BS on that.
Oh, I'm calling mega BS.
I'm saying that was a temporary tattoo from the beginning. And it was his laser. Yeah, no. Temporary tattoo. It wasn't real. No. Y'all, this was intense.
I bet people wish that with the Cody tattoo when it first happened.
Yes. This was intense. This was diabolical. This was evil. This is what MJF was. It's just like, this is the MJF that everybody fell in love with. And the whole thing, what went wrong with MJF is they tried to make it okay to love him. You know what I mean? And it's not okay to love this man. You love
really
him more when he's being despicable. So keep being that.
Keep being despicable. So we then go to our first match, which was Hangman Page walking his way with intensity to the ring and killing Aaron Solo to open the show. Poor guy. He gets the shit kicked out of him. And then that's when he gets on microphone and he gets, there's 3 things I hate in this world. He hates running out of biscuits, English Ivy, and MJF. Now,
this is, okay, we're going to get to the post, but I'm like, this is what, when you're appealing to your passionate fan base. I had no idea what English Ivy was. That lasted for 30 seconds until Twitter blew up with people putting up pictures and explaining what English Ivy was. That's when you know you got your fan base where you want them.
Mm-hmm. And for those who didn't see, do you want to share what it was?
Oh, it's just like a plant.
Yeah, he's got a on Blue Sky. He has this thing with plants. It's very weird.
Yeah, so he hates English Ivy. I just know what it was from what it looks like. I don't know if it's bad or good. I just know Hangman hates it. So somebody at the meet and greet, if they do a meet and greet at StarCast, if someone does not bring him an English Ivy, I don't know what to do. You have to.
At this point, man, like, what are you going to do?
You have to. It's funny because he hates it.
He hates it. Then MJF walks out onto the ramp, and he's got a bloody towel in his hand. So he goes, you want to fight me right now in front of all these people? Are you nuts? Look at you. You're heartless. I'm not fighting you. But I don't even know if I have a prayer on March 9th at Revolution. I'm going to need to go and leave and get ready for this match. Oh, but I totally forgot why I even came out here. I'm awfully worried about your friend. You should probably go check on him. I guess now is the time we find out who's actually real. And that's when we see Christopher Daniels bloodied up and he's bleeding from his forehead. And Hangman Page goes back and checks on him. And he's just all messed up. Now, I will say, you saw this, right?
Everybody saw it.
Yep. Unfortunately, CD got caught a little too early, busting himself open.
So, again, it's one of those things. I don't know what it's like. You know more what it's like to produce and be involved with live television than anyone here, than anyone that'll do this. So I'm honestly going to leave more of this for you to comment because you actually, have to deal with this kind of stuff. But it feels like that backstage segment should have been a pre-tape. And then, you go back to the pre-tape and then, that way you can cut off that beginning part. I don't know how that works. Like I said, I don't work in the production of wrestling. I didn't know what he was doing. until like today. I was like, I thought he was like trying to stop the blood. I didn't notice that he was, literally stabbing himself. So,
I was gonna say, because that's kind, like I said, it's very much kind of the thing you do when you're trying to, like, for a segment like that, it would be pre-taped, because the idea is you're supposed to go out there, because then eventually he went backstage and he saw CD against the TV trucks things, and then he was bleeding and all that kind of stuff. But like if he's not bleeding, like or whatever, or if he's still trying to get all the stuff up, you don't run up on him, or at the very least you hold the camera down before you get up on him with that. You know what I mean? Like, whatever it was, production truck, whoever's in the truck, they cut too early. They cut way too early, and CD was clearly still gigging up a little bit more. So, but yeah, it wasn't pre-taped because Adam was supposed to go back and chase out MJF and then find CD. So that's why it wasn't pre-taped. So it was a very specific reason why they went live with it, obviously. But if I'm the camera guy and he's still hitting himself, I'm not filming him. I'm like putting my camera down as I'm running up to him. And that makes it way more of a reveal because it shows the camera like showing the ground and then it pans up and then you tilt it up and you see CD against there and he's bleeding. And that way you're not catching him in the middle of his gig. You know what I mean?
Yes. And just to let everybody know, Austin is part of this for a living. So if you might be like, oh, he's talking about stuff he doesn't know. He's one of the few people that does this podcast thing that actually knows. Like, this is what they do.
Pretty much, man. Pretty much. And like, look, it is what it is. Obviously, like, it sucks. And like, it's an unfortunate thing that people latched on a little bit to. But the point still stands.
No. We know why they latched onto it. Because the rest of the show was awesome.
Yep.
That's all they had. You know what I mean? It's pretty all much. They had. No one's complaining about storylines. Nobody's complaining about this anymore. Nobody's complaining about boring segments anymore. They're hitting on all cylinders, so they're going to pick whatever they fucking can to try to bring it down. And that's why I said you can't worry about those people. You can't listen to those people. You have to ignore those idiots because that's not who's actually watching the shows, buying tickets, buying pay-per-views. Those aren't those people. Those are people just looking for something to hate.
Yeah, pretty much at this point. So, it is what it is at this point. But we move on now to Renee Paquette interviewing Chris Jericho backstage, and she's just like asking about the fact of this upcoming match. Will Ospreay and Brian Keith. They got Brian Keith basically to they had a bounty on Will Ospreay, so you hire a bounty hunter. Brian Keith looking to take out Will Ospreay, and basically Jericho was like, obviously, Big Bill's the bigger wrestler, but I don't trust him, basically. So they're gonna go ahead and go with Brian Keith to do it, and that's what Don Callis set up, and that's what led into the actual match between Will Ospreay and Brian Keith. And with this being obviously we had the squash match earlier, but with this being the first legitimate match that we had for this Dynamite, was fire. It was very, very entertaining, very good. There was good chemistry in this match. They got the crowd going, and then I loved how they had Don Callis and Kyle Fletcher in the luxury box talking shit, and then Ospreay chased out, and then they start fighting into the crowd. Really good performance too from Brian Keith. Obviously, he's shown all the time how well he can do it. The Emerald Driver he hit was awesome after he was able to counter the Hidden Blade with a great strike with his knee, and really, really good stuff. And then obviously the great setup. Every time he does it, it's the greatest shit ever. Ospreay hitting the Styles Clash, and then setting it up immediately into the Hidden Blade to get the win. So fucking sick. So sick.
So, Brian Keith was the king of Texas wrestling for a long time. Texas indie wrestling, pretty much held the world title in every Texas indie there is. Right. There is a reason this dude can perform his ass off. Yeah. Now, the bounty hunter is probably one of my favorite gimmicks in wrestling right now. What I need, and he's losing right now, and again, I generally in AEW, that leads to something.
Right.
But I need him to collect on one of these bounties. He's kind of the balance. Why would you hire Brian Keith right now? Every time you hire him, he loses. Or, and somebody pitched this in the Discord chat, and I'm sorry I didn't, on Social Suplex Discord, because I was actually very active in the chat last night. Because honestly, a lot of times when it wasn't great, it wasn't great to be in there, but, now that it's good. It's amazing to be in the Discord chat. When I was in the Discord chat, somebody was like, he shouldn't even care about winning. He should just be about taking the dude out. And I'm like, oh my God, that's such a simple fix. Because it doesn't matter if you lose if he doesn't care about winning. Like, he hits his big move and all that stuff. He's trying to hurt the guy, that kind of thing. He's trying to attack the guy, injure the guy, and put him down. That way, that's another way for him to collect on the bounty. And then if you do it like that, let's say he goes after Ospreay's arm to get rid of the hidden blade, then when you're doing the match with Kyle Fletcher, Ospreay goes in with an injured arm and whatever. Maybe he can't use the hidden blade. And it was just like, when he was pitching the idea, I was just like, that's a great idea. Because I was just thinking of, like, every time someone pitched the idea, I was like, always think, would I want to see that? And I'm like, dude, that would have added so much to it. But then they just go out there and put on a fucking banger, and it's like, first match, AEW banger lore is way up. You know what I mean? And Brian Keith and Will Ospreay did their thing. Again, I am still going to give my commentary, even though I did think this was the perfect show.
Yeah. No, I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you. And I don't really got much else to say. Again, I love the setup that we have right now for Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher. That steel cage match is going to be absolutely fucking insane.
And let me say this: with there's like 8 singles matches on the show. Did the Hangman and Christopher Daniels thing? I was going to ask you this before. I skipped over it on my notes. Do you think that maybe leads to a Hangman versus MJF First Blood match?
It's possible.
Because they've never done one in AEW.
They have not done a First Blood match. I personally am not a fan of First Blood matches, personally. That's just me.
Because my whole thing is, what if someone hits you, like, AEW is a lot more hard-hitting than a lot of other companies. What if you hit them and bust them off on accident?
That's what I'm saying.
Does the match end right then? Yeah,
there's that, but then at the same time, too, I mean, it's just, it doesn't, I just don't think it actually,
yeah.
I don't think it translates well.
It's just like, I just see like a bunch of singles matches on the show. Maybe other matches have stipulations. I don't know what they're going to do, but it's going to be a banger. I mean, this card is lining up to be one of the all-time great AEW cards, and that is fucking saying something.
Absolutely. We then had the CEO, Mercedes Moné, talking shit, and Billy Starks walked up, and she got her water that she was holding smacked up into her face by Mercedes, and Billy basically being like, what's your problem, blah, blah, blah. And then she says, right as Momo walks up behind her, goes, if I were you, I'd watch your back. And she's got her baseball bat in her hand. And then immediately Mercedes runs away, drops her TBS championship, and then Momo has it in her hands and then just says, she's coming for you at Revolution. Billy goes, that looks good on you.
My heart started pounding a mile a minute. Like, out of respect for this being a women's segment, I ain't going to say the usually thing I've been saying about what happened to me during this segment. But all I can think of is like, hey, her match with Momo is going to be amazing, right? Mm-hmm. It's going to be awesome. All I could think about is July 12th.
Yep.
Arlington, Texas. Mercedes poured water on Athena's minion. Mercedes poured water on Athena's minion.
Mm-hmm.
Only Athena gets to bully her minion. The war goddess. And I was like, man, title versus title in Texas. I don't know. Honestly, it felt like, I saw that and I was like, that's where my mind immediately went. I was like, that's like 5 months away. We might get it earlier than that.
Sure.
But, no, yeah, that's like, all due respect to Momo. All due respect to Momo. I was like, I ain't not trying to skip over you. But you don't understand how much I have over the last 3 months. I've at least mentioned it on this show 4 or 5 times. How much I want Mercedes versus Athena. Because this is this version of Athena. Like, I did not like Ember Moon. Didn't see anything in her. But this Athena character that she's developed over the last few years is everything I want. And then
Right.
Mercedes has been built perfectly. She's been doing everything she needs to do, and she's hitting this amazing match streak. So it's like they both seem to be as hot as they possibly can, where the
Right.
only answer is for them to wrestle each other.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, it just seems like it has to, you know?
Yeah, and that's what I'm like. I don't want to skip over Momo because I respect Momo. Heard enough from different shows about Momo that I know it's going to be a good match. I even watched the match where she won the Fatal 4-Way to get this match. So don't get me wrong. So I'm not trying to skip over her. But, my heart skipped over her, man. It was like, come on, Athena. Come on, Mercedes.
I'm right there with you, honestly. I feel you. I feel your feelings right there, man.
Yeah.
I feel exactly what you're feeling. So, but yeah, we'll move on now to the Murder Machines, Lance Archer and Brian Cage, facing off against the Outrunners, Truth Magnum and Turbo Floyd. Shout out to those guys, by the way, getting on goddamn Sports Center for what they did for the Omaha men's basketball team, where they talked to them before the game, getting them hyped up, and then after the win, fucking elbow dropped a trash can and got the boys going fucking crazy.
Hell,
That shit.
yes.
That shit was so goddamn entertaining. I loved it. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, actually, I'm pretty sure this was one of the matches that we got on the Jericho Cruise, actually. If I actually look that up, I'm all because I know that they had, like, pretty sure those matches. I'm almost certain because, dude, like, literally, yeah, the matches that they had, dude, I'm telling you, like, they had some good ones, and those guys especially wrestled their asses off. They did really, really good stuff on that match, on that ship, I would say. I know they wrestled Grizzled Young Vets. We were there for that one, and I'm pretty sure on one of the days. Yeah. One of those. I don't think it was on. I think it was on night 3. I think, or the final night actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it might have been the final night because it was. It was a 6-man. That's what it was. Yeah, they teamed with Bandito, and then they faced Brian Cage, Lance Archer, and Konosuke Takeshita. That's what it was. So they did lock up, but it was in a 6-man, not in a tag match. But this was solid. I thought this was solid, and it was a nice little, kind of fluky win actually, the way they set it up because of the interference with the Hurt Syndicate coming out to distract the Murder Machines after the call out they had on Collision, and that allowed for the Outrunners to steal a win, and MVP gave a little bit of a clap. I will say I want to make sure that the Outrunners, even though they're a bit of a comedy act, a little bit, you know, they should still be set up to be eventually one of the top tag teams in AEW. I think we're getting to the point where they'll get to that point. But you know,
I don't know. Like, I've never Googled how old they are, but these fellas aren't young. So
Yeah.
not like other people that you got years to build them on.
They are the youngest men alive, but they're not that young.
Yeah, so you need to get on pushing them,
Please.
pretty quickly if you're going to do it. I saw some online that didn't like that it was a distraction finish. Again, I dug it. Again, I don't mind a little sports entertainment in my wrestling.
No.
A little sports entertainment in my wrestling. I don't mind it. So yeah, the distraction finish. It now it may builds up a bigger line of contention between the Murder Machines and the Hurt Syndicate. The Murder Machines could even claim that the Hurt Syndicate only came out because they were scared of them. So I think
Absolutely.
it can build to a bigger match that way. And now you have the Outrunners with the use like, oh, the Hurt Syndicate helped them win because they think they're the easy dub. That way you can set up a whole bunch of false finishes in their matches if you want to do that. Or you can do what like AEW loves to do on first-time tag team defenses or whatever. Well, which just wouldn't be their first defense, it'd be their second. But they love to throw in a triple threat match. So
They love that.
So there is another 3-way match. So with the pay-per-view being loaded, that might be the idea to get more people on the card or whatever you want to do. But like I said, I can see how some people did have a problem with it. I personally did not have a problem with this finish at all.
Yeah, I thought it was good. And again, I hope that, like I said, you look to see the growth of the Outrunners and getting more pushing, you know.
And this is AEW at its finest. When you went into that match knowing the Murder Machines were going to win and just go on the face Hurt Syndicate. Everyone knew that. No one thought the Outrunners were going to win. And then they went against what everyone thought. And that's perfect. And they're going to make it work for the story. It's not on the same level because the other one was a main event. It almost was like that Dark Order versus Elite match where everybody knew Hangman was going to win and then go to All Out and face Kenny, and then they lost. Like, you need stuff like this to happen because it keeps people on their feet, and it makes your show not skippable.
Mm-hmm. Pretty much, dude. Pretty much. So we then had Swerve Strickland coming out with Prince Nana, where he talked basically about how he made this place his house the second he stepped through the doors of AEW 3 years ago at Revolution. Said it's fitting that we're wrapping up Black History Month because I made Black History when I became AEW World Champion. So he talks up everything and he says he's not no one-hit wonder. And that's when he goes and he mentions how in order to prove that I'm still the man around here, I got to get gold around my waist. And Nana was putting me back on track, obviously, trying to make sure that I get my world championship. Ricochet, though, he's walking around with something that doesn't belong to him, and I need to right some wrongs. He goes, we're done when I say we're done. So you're not moving on to bigger or better things. Ricochet comes out and he goes, no, I am done with you. You had your chance. I won. Winners don't chase losers. And he's chasing gold, something that you will never be able to hold again in AEW. So I will not be facing you. And the next time you see me, I will have gold around my waist as he turns around his hat. Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles hat over his head. The instant I saw him coming out with the backwards hat and I saw the NFL logo, I'm like, oh, Floyd's going to have some words for this man.
Oh, dude, you don't know how disgusted I was because I knew what hat it was. He didn't even have to turn it around. I knew what hat it was.
You knew it, dude.
I saw him
absolutely
celebrating on Twitter. And, wearing that hat's the closest he's going to get to gold, okay? That's it. I hate him. I hate Ricochet.
Yep.
No. So, shout out, and this segment was for the AEW Doesn't Tell Stories people out there.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Ricochet, a Swerve, constant competition, always trying to one-up each other. Ricochet's like, oh, I'm going to beat the C2 like you didn't do, right? And then, he loses, and then Swerve comes out and embarrasses him with toilet paper, and then Ricochet stabs him in the face, and I'm like, is this enough story for you? Then he takes Ricochet's robe. And then Ricochet takes Swerve's robe. Then Nana asks for the robe back. And Ricochet's, no, take it from me kind of thing. And it's just like, now it's like, okay, they don't personally like each other. Ricochet wants Swerve's spot. Swerve is like, this is still my house. Ricochet, it's my house now. Now you add the robe into it. Again, any idiot that comes through later and says this is about the robe, it's like, you are missing so many layers of this story. Right. The robe is the latest layer of this story. And now let's add more stakes to it. The winner of Ricochet and Swerve at Revolution becomes the number one contender. Oh my God! This is this is a professional wrestling story. From what I can tell, this is a professional wrestling story. Did you talk about what Nana said? I'm sorry if I missed it.
No, in terms of what Nana says, though, he has an offer that he wants him to consider, and he tells Ricochet that he had a talk with Tony Khan, and he agrees just what the fans agree, which is that they deserve a rematch. All you got to do is accept this: Swerve versus Ricochet at Revolution. The winner becomes the number one contender for the AEW World Championship. And he goes, you know what, Nana, that's good. That's really, really good. So he's like, all I got to do is whoop Swerve's ass one more time, and then my ticket's basically punched to the World Championship. And Nana goes immediately to Swerve and says, I'm proud of you. You've taken steps to become the number one priority of being champion once again. I want you to go back to who these fans say you are and who you say you are and who I know you are, being the most dangerous man in AEW. But listen, I took a lot of bullets for you. Hangman, Sting, the Hurt Syndicate, Ricochet, and to see him walking around with my robe, my legacy, everything that I represent, I need you to fix my legacy and get my robe back, or I don't know if I can do this anymore. And he leaves.
Stories? There's no stories in this company. There's no stories in this company. Now, so if you think about it, and this is not me adding too much to it, and what I think it's at this point, 9 days in Los Angeles, California, Swerve and Ricochet. What's on the line? Their personal rivalry. Whose house it is between Ricochet and Swerve is on the line. The number one contender for the AEW World title is on the line. And more than likely, Nana's service as Swerve's manager is on the line. And Nana dancing to Swerve's music helped Swerve get over. I'm not going to say it's the reason, but it helped. It was an aid in help Swerve getting to where he is right now. So that's all that's on the line in that one match. It actually feels like, if you look at the card, right, as far as stakes, it's the most important match on the card.
Yeah.
Just think about it. Let's just look at it. There's titles and all that stuff, but there's no more in this match that is on in this card on this match than in the Swerve Ricochet match.
I mean, I don't disagree.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. Like, dude, yeah. I was listening to a show earlier, and it's like MJF and Hangman are the main characters on this show. And I was pointing out to Rich, just on the DM, that I was like, that's super, I mean, it's awesome, because I agreed to a point, but I'm like, what about Swerve? But if you think about it, the promotion, the marketing has all been about, really, MJF. Like, his first pay-per-view, big match was against Cody. He beat him. He beat the number one face in the company at the time. And it's like, Hangman, shit, he wins the Casino Battle Royal, the first one ever, and then he's in the first world title main event in the show. They were always destined for stardom. You know who we didn't see coming? This quote unquote, and I'm not saying this, what people said at the time, WWE/NXT reject, coming in and becoming just as important character as those two. Because as I asked, let's just say we're going to All In. And I'm going to ask you, Austin, you can say it. We did not prepare for this, so you may not even agree with me. If you're going All In main event, are you going Hangman versus MJF or Hangman versus Swerve?
Hangman versus Swerve.
Exactly. So if that's your biggest show, you're like, this main event that makes the most sense is Hangman versus Swerve. Who are actually the two main characters in AEW?
Seems like you've already answered your own question.
Exactly. So I'm just saying, I understand how people can think it's MJF. But Swerve, kind of on his own, has made himself just as important of a character. This is not to downgrade MJF or Hangman. It's just to make sure people aren't forgetting about Swerve.
I think that makes all the sense in the world, honestly. So I don't know what else to say there, man. I think you've said everything that needs to be said there. So
I don't know if y'all can tell I'm at a different level of pumpness when it comes to AEW
yes,
right now.
He is.
I'm at a little different level of ampness. You probably, if you just started listening to the show, you probably haven't heard this side of me very often, but I'm there. Somebody says, somebody's like, the arrow's pointing up for AEW. I'm like, the arrow's up. It is up.
It is up.
Yeah, it is up. Nothing can stop them. They're all the way up. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So we then move on to, obviously, quick little thing. Hangman's like, oh, Max left the building. He's left. And Hangman goes, when I find you, and I will, if I do not run you over, you will wish that you had. So there's that. And then we go into
what kind of truck was fucking
I don't know what that was, dude. I got it's got the damn Longhorn on top of it, but it's like a modern truck. Like I would not be surprised if it was an electrical truck, but just like obviously has this Hangman shit on it. Like
yeah, and it
threw me off.
You know what's the craziest thing? No one on Twitter or Blue Sky has told me what it is yet.
I don't know what it is,
So
man.
that's how you know it's a deep cut. Because usually within 3 seconds of a post, somebody has posted like, hey, this is the kind of truck Hangman was driving. And I got to say, I didn't really search for it. I was just going on my regular hashtag AEW Dynamite thing. But yeah, I have no idea what he was driving. Someone will probably figure it out.
Someone will figure it out.
I was going to say One Nation, a Tunnel Talk or One Nation Radio might figure it out because they'll have a little more time before their shows.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. But that moves into the trios match between the TNT champion, Daniel Garcia, teaming up with FTR, making a rare Dynamite appearance.
Dude. Y'all know when we posted, I was like, oh my God, they still work there. You know, because
it's crazy to see, dude.
Because they won this big tag team, street fight against the Death Riders with Cope. And it was like they just broke up. But it wasn't a loud broke up that they tell you about. It was just like, if you go on Instagram, you go on Instagram and the girl and guy didn't announce that they weren't together. But all of a sudden on Instagram, all their pictures together are gone. That's what this Copeland and the FTR thing feels like.
For real.
It's like they just silently went their separate ways without saying nothing because literally, and it's so funny, like, and this is, again, coming as an FTR guy, everyone knows that I'm an FTR guy. I gotta say the path of this world title reign has kind of went up when they kind of took FTR out of it, and that hurts me to my core to say.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But look at it when they were involved, right? And then when they kind of went their separate ways and it's just been focused on Cope and Jay White, the excitement and stuff for this has went up. And I was like, I'm sitting here watching it because I kind of watched the show back because I was actually busy doing the FTR match and I watched it all back tonight. And I was like, the only thing that I can see is that Cope became more of a babyface because he was seen as outnumbered. When it was Cope, FTR, Jay White, and Willow versus the Death Riders, it was even Steven. So that whole like threat of the Death Riders jumping on Copeland wasn't there. So removing FTR from it feels like it was made it a bigger mountain for Copeland to have to have to climb. And then you moved FTR out. But again, this is one of those things, week to week, and like, you gotta have a reason for it. You gotta have Cope say, hey, FTR, can you stay out of this? I don't want y'all getting kidnapped again. I want your family to be okay. Can you stay out of this? Or something. Because you have to, like, someone that's just watching every week, like I do, I am genuinely confused why FTR doesn't have Copeland's back anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of there with you.
It's like, why? You're like, I mean, did he say something about their mama? Did he did he order the wrong thing at Waffle House? What the hell? I mean, why they break up? And then again, me and you, every episode, every hour, every match, this hasn't been explained. Like, someone asked me, and I'm like, maybe like, if anyone knows it's you. I'm like, I have no fucking clue why they're not friends anymore. Yeah, so again, tiny gripe, because again, it actually enhanced the Copeland chase for Mox has been enhanced, and it's exponentially better than it was. And now they're kind of getting FTR back on the right path of where they should be, is the AEW tag team titles, even though this wasn't a tag team match. Well,
it wasn't, but again, too, I mean, like, with the Undisputed Kingdom, like, they're trying to set up a little bit with the Trios division. It feels like a little bit with that. And obviously, huge pinfall win for Adam Cole, beating the TNT champion, too. A little bit of pushing and shoving between O'Reilly and Strong and FTR and them, and Daniel Garcia and Adam Cole trying to play peacekeepers a bit.
I'm pretty sure Cash drank a bang before this match, because that dude was fucking everywhere. Flying everywhere.
sharpshooters on everybody could get sharpshooters.
Everybody could get sharpshooters. This was a fun trios match. Again, pre-AEW, I hated 6-man matches. And then when AEW came around and they started taking them seriously and the people started trying to actually win, man, it's really cool. And even the ending on this, I'd never seen that before. They're all in this foregrab and then one guy rolls them up. And if you notice something, a little more storytelling, that's how Daniel Garcia's been beating everybody. That little flip over pin, that's how he beat Mark Briscoe twice. That's how he's been keeping his title. And it was used against him to win. Again, that's probably a sicko cut that not a lot of people were paying attention to. But I noticed it as soon as it happened. I was like, Daniel Garcia just lost the way he's been winning.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, so that's a sicko deep cut right there.
It is a deep cut for sure. That's what we pull from, though. That's what we pull from.
Yes.
So immediately afterwards, though, they announced that we're going to have Cole and Garcia for the TNT Championship. So huge announcement immediately after that pinfall win. And then we go into Claudio trying to find Cope. They start brawling backstage. Yuta comes in to start helping out. Marina Shafir is looking on. It looks like Copeland's going to get concertoed, but that's when Switchblade comes out. He gets up. He spears Claudio. He's going to hit concerto on Claudio. Marina gets pulled off of him, and then he eventually does hit the concerto on Claudio after a great moment where Copeland gets out of the way and Wheeler Yuta accidentally Busaiku knees Marina Shafir, and Jay White laughing at him was the best. Jay White laughing at Wheeler Yuta right before he hits the Blade Runner on him was amazing. Cope hits Claudio, like I said, with the concerto. Moxley is watching, and he's being kept away by Jay White with the steel chair, not letting him get close to help his Death Rider friends. Cope is literally about to hit Marina with a concerto of his own, but then our girl, Willow Nightingale, finally, little bit of comeuppance, she steps up and she concertos Marina Shafir in the head, and Jon Moxley is beside himself. So Cope has now gotten every single member of the Death Riders. All that is left is Mr. Moxley, which he's going to have at Revolution.
They didn't concerto Yuta yet, so I still
They did not, but
he
did get hit with the Death Rider. He got hit with the Blade Runner.
Yeah, so I think they still got to get rid of Yuta. But yeah, I mean, they're down to him and Yuta, and I'm like, I could live with that, especially if Jay White's going to be with Mox.
Oh, sure.
And then, so I think Marina and Willow have had like 4 interactions, and I'm like, God, I can't wait for this match. I don't know when they're going to do it because I don't think Marina's actually wrestled a match since joining the Death Riders, or she has. I don't remember it. But I'm ready for Willow and Marina. Let's go. Let's get that going. I mean, dude, I'm ready. That could be a big match on a Dynamite because I want Willow in something because Willow's kind of like on the back burner right now. I want her in something.
Absolutely. We need that.
Yeah.
We then move on to Deonna Purrazzo facing off against Harley Cameron. And I was so excited for this match. And they did a good job, I thought. Deonna, obviously, they played up her experience and how big that was. And how that was helpful in the match itself. Harley, I thought, was able to do some really good stuff in there. Thought it was solid. I liked how they had Taya Valkyrie watching from backstage, obviously, because she was looking for her partner to be able to get some revenge since that was when she got her first win against her when she beat Taya Valkyrie. And nice little roll-up actually not a roll-up, sorry. She hits a great counter and then plants Deonna, gets the pinfall. And gets another victory. So, solid win against Harley, a person like Deonna Purrazzo.
Harley has a finisher.
Yeah.
Spinning reverse DDT. I dig it for her. I dig that she won. After losing the title, she's back on the path. I feel like there's going to be something with the Vendetta going forward. Now, again, small gripe. Deonna Purrazzo, former ROH Women's World Champion, former TNA Women's World Champion, Impact Women's World Champion. I hate that she's not booked on this level in AEW.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Like, she should rarely lose. Like, rarely lose. She is, like, I mean, you get the product, you buy the person, and you buy everything that comes along with her. The virtuosa, this big-time character, she should rarely lose. So her losing to Harley, I'm like, again, for Harley and the story they're telling with Harley, that was great, right? Great. And maybe this leads to, the vendetta actually having a vendetta for once.
That'd be nice if they actually had a vendetta.
Yeah, they're called a vendetta, but they don't seem to, have a vendetta. Not actually have a vendetta, so this could be a nice mid-card feud for Harley, Yeah. But Deonna, main eventer, right? She's been pushed as a women's main eventer everywhere she's been. Of course, let's ignore the NXT WWE time, but in Impact, in ROH, and that should be, like said, former Impact champion, former ROH champion. That shit matters. You know what I mean? Absolutely. And if that means, like, if you don't have something for an AEW, trying to work something out with Stardom or starting to work something out with New Japan where she's over there wrestling and winning, maybe do that. But this woman should be presented at a higher level than she is.
You would think so, right?
Because this is not a problem with this episode. I want to make sure this is clear. This is a problem with the overall booking of Deonna Purrazzo. This episode, great. This was the right ending for this show. But what my complaint was about the overall booking of Deonna Purrazzo, a much decorated champion in wrestling, she should be treated as such. Because she's still in her prime right now. It's not like if she was like older and like touring towards retirement, I see her losing. But she's in the middle of her wrestling prime. Take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say that when she was brought in, there was a lot more hype, I feel like, than you would like that she deserved. You know what I mean? There was a lot more hype around her, and the fact that she's kind of just a little bit slipped away, I would like to see a little bit more from her. And like I said, maybe if they get a couple more members to the Vendetta, that would help them a little bit. We'll see. Yeah. But again, it would also be a nice stopgap feud for Harley, just to get a little bit of build back up as she's got like these group of girls that are coming after her.
But I will say this: over the last 6 weeks, AEW has earned the benefit of the doubt, so I'm going to give it to them. Yeah. But I am going to address concerns as I see them.
Absolutely. We then have the main event, the International Championship Series match for the international title. Konosuke Takeshita defending his title against Orange Cassidy. Winner, obviously, would then have to face Kenny Omega at Revolution for the International Championship.
Dude, I knew...
Closed it out on a fucking banger.
I knew who was winning this match, and they still false finished me like 3 times. I knew who was winning this match. I had it in my head who was gonna win this match, and they still got me. He hit that beach break on the beach break on the announcer's table. I was like, oh shit, we might be going over here. Yeah, and it was just like, Takeshi's so fucking good. That transition. Suplex, and then he tried to turn it into the stun dog. Then he reversed it from the stun dog to the Blue Thunder Bomb oh my god, this is wrestling at its finest, dude. I have the hugest man crush on Takeshi, and I have an issue right now when it comes to AEW. I don't know who my favorite wrestler is. It's like Swerve, of course. Takeshi, oh my god, he's so fucking good, so fucking good. Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega, it's like, oh my god. It's like at every point in this show, it's like, okay, he's my favorite wrestler. And then this guy performs, okay, no, he's my favorite wrestler. And then this guy cuts a promo, no, he's my favorite wrestler. I don't know who my fucking favorite wrestler in
At this point, dog, you're running out of fucking space on your card for favorite wrestler.
What I need to do is somebody wants to shout me out. I want to take a Swerve, Takeshita, Will Ospreay, and Kenny Omega and make it into one shirt, because I can't make up my fucking mind right now. Like, FTR is clearly my favorite tag team. Willow is clearly my favorite women's wrestler. Those things are unarguable. But when it comes to singles men, I don't know what the fuck to do. These dudes are just all amazing.
Nuts, man. I mean, dude, like, Orange Cassidy just continues to be...
Dude, I forgot about him.
Dude, he vanished for a little bit, and then now he just
comes in and just puts on a banger like it was nothing.
He's back.
He's back. Like it was nothing. Like, yeah, I'm just OC, blah, blah, blah. And you remember, there was this window where I was okay with him winning the world title. And, they kind of dropped the ball. And, and I thought, man, they lost it. He never come back. Last night after that match, and I heard the crowd, how they were reacting to him, I was like, no, they haven't lost it. They just need to pick the right story, and he could be the guy.
Genuinely. I mean, dude, he, wrestled the fucking, like you said, that transition from when it looked like he was going to hit that tornado DDT, then it looked like he was going to transition that into the Stun Dog Millionaire, and then that got moved into the fucking Blue Thunder Bomb that was hit so, dude, the strength of Takeshita is absolutely unreal.
And I hate to say it like this, but I'm like, obviously, just lack of a better term, it looked real. It looked like a real struggle to decide who the move was. And it was just you try to get into those suspension of disbeliefs. And man, that moveset was like, shit, this guy doesn't want this move to happen to him. This guy doesn't want to. Sometimes it's like this faint, they're trying to do it, but it doesn't really but it really looked like it was trying to go. It was just so fucking good. And it's like, I'm reminded, and I saw in our Discord, how fucking good Takeshita is. And I probably cussed a lot on this episode. This is passion.
Yeah.
I just heard me say fuck for the 19th time, so I was like,
brother, man, I'm never gonna tell you if you swear too much, because you know me. Yes. You know me. When I'm not on TV, I swear. Yes. That's just what it is.
Yes. I was just like, dang, I think I said it that's a lot.
It was a lot, yeah. But I mean, it was a beautiful way to close out the show. Like I said, both guys were just absolutely wrecking each other, and then Orange Cassidy looks like he's gonna hit a jumping from the top rope orange punch, and he gets elbowed across the fucking skull with absolute ferocity. And then eventually Takeshita blocks the orange punch and then hits the Raging Fire, retains the title, and it's going to be Kenny Omega versus Takeshita for the International Championship in Los Angeles at Revolution. Fucking A. What a way to close out the show.
Absolutely. Perfect 10 out of 10 Dynamite. I put it on both my Twitter, and my X, and my Blue Sky, because I needed it to be known. I just thought it was a perfect show. If you happen to be listening, you happen to know someone, you're listening, I imagine you watched the show, but if you know someone that didn't, this is the Dynamite to go back and watch, because I think it set all the pieces in place for Revolution. I think this was just as good, this was a great go-home show, even though we have another Dynamite.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so it's if you need all the stories kind of wrapped up to you in one place, this is the Dynamite that you needed to watch.
Pretty much, dude, at this point. That's kind of where we're at with that. But that was AEW Dynamite from this week. And we're just a little over a week away from AEW Revolution. So first off, we're going to have in Oakland for Collision on Saturday. Of course, TNT Championship match between Daniel Garcia and Adam Cole. FTR will have a tag match against Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. That could be a fucking banger, I'm going to say right now. I'm hyped for that. Kenny Omega, it will be on the show, and we will hear from him. And, because there's going to be a Ring of Honor taping as well, going to have some Lucha Libre in Oakland, and Mystico is going to be making an appearance too. So that's honestly fucking hype as shit.
Dude, Will Hobbs, I got to hear Bandito talk. I don't know if that was his first time cutting a promo, but it feels like it. Bandito and Will Hobbs talking was crazy, and Will Hobbs is going to murder some people. And I love the little part, and it's the subtle things that people notice, some people don't notice, where Will Hobbs slapped him on the chest. He's like, hold down, we'll save that for them. It was kind of
right.
That was that comedic moment. I love that. And then, of course, 2 shows in a row of FTR.
Crazy. It's crazy.
FTR works there. Oh my God. And they're getting in a match against Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong, which I truly think can be pushed as one of the top tag teams in AEW. if you've ever listened to the show, you know I'm not the biggest fan of Kyle O'Reilly as a singles wrestler.
Yeah.
As much as I'm not a big fan of him as a singles wrestler, it's as much as I am a big fan of him as a tag team wrestler. I think he works amazing in tag teams. Just like a couple of the different things him and Roderick Strong doing, I'm like, God, okay. And it's like, even though it was a 6-man match, it seemed to build to a tag team match. And it's like, okay, they're putting focus on the trios titles, right?
Yeah.
They're putting focus on the tag team titles, right? The TNT title's actually getting defended. Like, every title right now in the company is, except the Continental title, is kind of...
And the trios.
I mean, the trios title just got defended. I'm just like, they're kind of in a feud right now, right? The whole trios team was just basically taken out, so pretty sure that's okay for... that's
it's okay. That's get the belts off them is all I'm saying.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it just seems like the title's actually starting to mean something again. That's what I was getting to. It's like the titles actually mean something. It means something again. People actually want them, which is, kind of important when you're going to have titles.
Yeah, I mean...
And again, everything, that arrow's up. It is firmly, they have found their true north, and they're going that way right now.
There you go. That's where we're at right now. And then the only thing that's, I believe, announced for the Dynamite Collision cross-taping at Sacramento in next Wednesday is that Mystico will be there for another Ring of Honor taping. So that is one big thing that they got there. So he'll be doing 2 events there for California. So
yeah, I imagine they're going to be announcing some stuff on Dynamite. I mean, we might even
Collision,
get to, I think I'm thinking we're going to get the Hurt Syndicate versus Outrunners next week on Dynamite.
That would be fire.
Yeah,
I would say that would absolutely be
fire.
Fire.
Next Dynamite is a dual taping. If I guess it's Sacramento, it's a dual taping, but it makes sense because the pay-per-view being on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean that's where we're at right now, and I think that'll close this out for this episode of All Things Elite, guys. We appreciate you supporting the show and tuning in every single week. Continue to support the show by downloading it and sharing us around with your friends, family, coworkers, whoever you wish. Turn automatic downloads on. If you listen to us on YouTube Music, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, whatever the case may be, we appreciate that. Rate, review, subscribe. And then follow us on Twitter at AT Elite Pod. You can also follow at Social Suplex that make this show possible. And check out all the other shows they have on their network. I am at Austin Sumowitz, SZUMOWICZ. And Floyd is at Floyd Johnson Jr. on Twitter. And I will pass it off to my buddy Floyd so he can take us home on this episode of All Things Elite.
I don't know if I said this last week. Didn't see it in the notes, but additional piece of news. It looks as if Josh Alexander is coming to AEW. That's what the rumors is. He finished up with Impact. It looks like there was a bidding war between AEW and WWE. AEW won, and so it looks like he's coming to AEW. Don't know when that's going to actually happen, but like they do, major debuts have happened at Revolution. The first time we saw Swerve Strickland at a Revolution. So I wouldn't be surprised if Josh Alexander at least makes an appearance at Revolution. So he is an excellent wrestler. He is Canadian. I mean, I kind of got him earmarked for the Don Callis family, so we'll see how that works out if that actually happens. But Alexander's amazing in the ring, so that's all I have to say. Well, that's it for the news. Thank everyone that listened. I'm hoping you liked the amped up Floyd today. I won't tone it down. As long as it's good, this is what you're going to get. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. Moment, listen, second, download, everything. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure you are keeping up with the shows. Man, One Nation Radio always covers Dynamite. Tunnel Talk always covers Dynamite. Keeping the Strong Style covers if there's anything New Japan involved on Dynamite. So with Gabe Kidd and Clark Connors coming over, they probably will start at least speaking on that a little bit. So yeah, everything we have, everything on the Social Suplex is great. So make sure you're tuning in to all the shows. It gives you something to listen to. Feels like every day. I feel like there's a new show at least every day. So make sure you're checking that out. But man, dude, world's crazy right now. Again, I don't do politics, but a lot of people aren't happy with how the country's going. Dude, all you can do is take care of your part of the world, take care of the people around you. If your parents are struggling and you can do something, you can afford to do something, make sure you help them out. If all they need is an ear, a meal, a movie, something to take their minds off of it, because unfortunately there's a lot of people losing their jobs right now. So just be there for people the way that you can. I'm not saying overextend yourself or anything like that, but be there, people. Do the small things. If it's a Snickers, if it's a large drink from Sonic, that's an Oklahoma thing. I don't know if everybody else is on the large drinks from Sonic. It's a crate of White Castles. Whatever you can do to make somebody's day brighter, even if it's just telling them you love them and how important they are to you and how you make their day better, do that. Because all we got is us in this world. All we got is the people next to us. And with that, I will leave you how I always leave you, whether it's home, work, or school. Always do your best to be a leader.
Yeah, sure thing.
Hey, you sold that car yet?
Yeah, sold it to Carvana.
Oh, I thought you were selling to that guy.
The guy who wanted to pay me in foreign currency, no interest, over 36 months? Yeah, no. Carvana gave me an offer in minutes, picked it up, and paid me on the spot. It was so convenient.
Just like that.
Yeah?
No hassle.
None.
That is super convenient.
Sell your car to Carvana and swap hassle for convenience. Pickup fees may apply.